Hey, we're back. We're talking coaching science, especially as it pertains to teaching, instruction of student athletes, not only just to develop, sport skill and physical qualities, but to get them to develop knowledge and understanding of the game and scheme and just the overall process of their own development. Want to really bring, excuse me, attention to a couple great resources. One has been out for several years, but Dr. Fergus Connolly's text, Game Changer, fantastic text as it pertains to developing the whole athlete, looking at things much broader than just the physical, but looking at things from a holistic lens. Has some great resources there. Also has some great resources as it pertains to the game model or the overall philosophy or commander's intent of the actual head coach and coaching staff, people that are involved in training those athletes. The next resource we bring up is the Coach's Guide to Teaching by Doug Lemov. Fantastic resource, bringing concepts of general education, kindergarten through 12th grade education, over to the coaching lens. Has a lot of great resources as it pertains to communication, providing feedback, even designing learning opportunities, checks for understanding, or review. So great resources to check out. In the past couple of weeks, we've talked about a couple things. First, looking at the athlete development system and the overall situation that our athletes are a part of as an ecosystem. Just like we would see an ecosystem out in the real world, we see our athletes at the center. Their learning is at the center of a triad we think of as the task, what we provide them to engage in. Their overall readiness, we think about that as the athlete. And then finally, the actual environment, the field surface, the weather, the overall climate of the learning experience. We also talked about vision and how athlete vision may be different from one athlete to the next, and that we as coaches, we as teachers, educators can really be deliberate in making sure our athletes are looking at what we intend them to be actually learning and developing. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is actually building athlete knowledge. And we're going to break this into a mini series, 3 different videos as it pertains to this. And we're going to dig deeply into the learning plan, or what Doug Lemov has talked about as the curriculum, the plan over time for what we actually intend to teach our athletes. So if I'm a coach, it may be the scheme, the actual X's and O's of my offense or my defense. It could be a little bit of the history behind our philosophy. Whatever it is, it goes into a curriculum or learning plan, my plan for teaching them. The second thing is the game model. Okay, so Dr. Connolly really brings up the idea of a game model and being the overall directions that the club or organization is going to be moving in. So if I have a head coach or a collection of professionals, maybe a general manager, a manager, head coach, assistant coaches, everyone is behind the same game model, so that regardless of what decision needs to be made, they understand it. On a more end user basis, our athletes also understand the game model, and regardless of what happens in the situation, much like on a military front, we understand the commander's intent, and we'll make a decision to make sure that happens. So the game model is really important. And then finally, we're going to talk about common language. So many times in sport, we have different terminology for different things. We call the same thing multiple things, not just across organizations, but within the same organization. So we're going to be talking about the importance of that. So over time, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about the learning plan, our curriculum that we bring up, our game model, the actual process and philosophy that we all believe in within an organization. And then finally, the importance of a common knowledge base, a common language base. Keeping in mind with all of this, that it's just a part of the overall master plan for our athletes. Our athletes are going to start as a young athlete. They're going to be moving up through a developmental stage, and then hopefully eventually they can get to the elite stage. And just like always, we talk about learning and development being extremely non-linear. It's not really clean. It's not point A to point B. There's ups and downs. It's very much like the stock market. But if we zoom out, we can really see our athletes improving. We'll be continuing to talk about this in the coming weeks as we prepare for the fall semester and the beginning of our new school year.